Hi, Megan. How are you doing?
Hi. Good. Well, okay.
Welcome. I'm just going to ask you what brings you in here today?
Well, I'm just going through a hard time lately. It's not the worst I've ever had it in my life. It's just a very challenging time right now
Hmm.
because my husband is overseas for a year-long deployment, and I have to get the house ready to sell. And I have three kids, and my middle schooler's having a very difficult time right now. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
like I'm really worried about her.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like there's some stress going on at home, and your husband's not there, so you
Yeah.
you have lost a little bit of your support system. Um, I'm
Yeah.
going to, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna just since this is a first session, go over a couple different inventories of
Okay.
things here, just to see, just because it's the first session, to see where you're at with a couple of these different tests. So, is that okay with you?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. So, um, this first test here is just is test to see if you where you score as far as depression. Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
it could be possible that your situation is causing you to be like have a little bit lower energy and things like that. And so it's just asking some questions around that. If you could help me out, I'm going to just ask you the question and then you can tell me the answer. But I'll read off the question and I'll read the answers because it's multiple choice.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then if you could do your best to be as honest as possible, and there's no judgments here, and we just want to know, do the best we can to assess where you're at with this. So uh,
Okay.
okay, so basically, I'm going to give you 21 different statements, and then I'm going to give you the four different options, or you can give me a number one through 0 through 3 about how it where you are at in terms of that. So the first one is sadness, and 0 would be I don't feel sad. 1, I feel sad much of the time. 2, I'm sad all the time. And 3, I'm so sad or unhappy that I can't stand it. Which one applies to you the most?
Um, I'd say that I feel sad most of the time because even when I feel happy, I'm just really lonely without my husband,
Hmm.
and I just I just feel very alone with
Yeah.
the kids.
Second question is pessimism. So first is, as far as pessimism, I'm not discouraged about my future. 2 is I feel more discouraged about my future than I used to be. 3 is I don't expect things to work out for me. And 4 is I feel my future is hopeless and will only get worse.
I would say two because I know that when he comes back, it's going to be a lot easier. But
Yeah.
in the meantime, I'm just worried about my daughter all the time.
Hmm. 3 is based on past failure. And so 1 is I don't feel like a failure. 2 is I failed more than I should have. 3 is as I look back, I see a lot of failures. And 4 is I feel I am a total failure as a person.
Um, Normally it would be a one or a two, but right now I feel like I'm a three because I just keep on trying everything for my daughter and nothing is really helping enough.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then I feel like a failure in a lot of ways because I'm not as attentive to the kids as I feel that I should be in the evenings because I just feel
Yeah.
so overwhelmed.
Fourth one is loss of pleasure. So 1 is I get as much pleasure as I ever did from the things I enjoy. 2 is I don't enjoy the things as much as I used to. 3 is I get very little pleasure from the things I used to enjoy. And 4 is I can't get any pleasure from the things I used to enjoy.
I'd say a one. I still enjoy things. I still laugh with my friends.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I like my chocolate.
5 is guilty feelings. 1, I don't feel particularly guilty. 2, I feel guilty over many things I've done or should have done. 3, I feel quite guilty most of the time, and 4, I feel guilty all of the time.
Um, I'd say, well, if it could be a 1.5, that's not really possible. I guess I'd have to go with the 2 because I feel like I have a lot of successes every day, but then with the kids, I feel like a failure quite a bit right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So 6 is
2.
punishment feelings, sorry. 1, I don't feel like I'm being punished. 2, I feel like I may be punished. 3, I expect to be punished. 4, I feel like I am being punished.
I'd say a 1.
Okay. 7, self-dislike. 1, I feel the same about myself as ever. 2, I have lost confidence in myself. 3, I am disappointed in myself. And 4, I dislike myself.
I'd say a 2 because I was determined to make this a good year, but at this point, 8 months in, but I've run out of steam, and I have 4 months left to go.
Yeah, that's quite, right in the middle of it. 8, self-criticalness. So 1, I don't criticize or blame myself more than usual. 2, I'm more critical of myself than I used to be. 3, I criticize myself for all of my faults. 4, I blame myself for everything bad that happens.
I'd say a 2. That's circumstantial right now, though.
9, suicidal thoughts or wishes. 1, I don't have any thoughts of killing myself. 2, I have thoughts of killing myself, but I would not carry them out. 3, I would like to kill myself. 4, I would like to kill myself if I had the chance.
What were the 2 lowest ones descriptions again?
1 is I don't have any thoughts of killing myself, and 2 is I have thoughts of killing myself, but I would not carry them out.
Oh, I don't have any suicidal thoughts.
Okay, yeah.
10.
Yep.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Crying. 1, I don't cry any more than I used to. 2, I cry a lot more than I used to. 3, I cry over every little thing. And 4, I feel like crying, but I can't.
Well, I've definitely started crying more, but it's just like sometimes.
Yeah.
So I guess a 2. Like when
yeah.
the stress builds up and the kids aren't at home and I can just let it out.
Yeah, that can be good sometimes. 11 is agitation. I am no more restless or wound up than usual. 2, I feel more restless or wound up than usual. 3, I am so restless or agitated that it's hard to stay still. And 4, I am so restless or agitated that I have to keep moving or doing something.
2.
2. 12, loss of interest. 1, I have lost interest in other people or activities. Or have not lost interest. 2, I am less interested in other people or things than before. 3, I have lost most of my interest in other people or things. And 4, it's hard to get interested in anything.
1. So I'm still interested.
You're engaged.
Yes.
13, indecisiveness. 1, I make decisions about as well as ever. 2, I find it more difficult to make decisions than usual. 3, I have much greater difficulty in making decisions than I used to. And 4, I have trouble making any decisions.
2. My brain's just tired, but I can still make decisions.
14, worthlessness. 1, I don't feel I am worthless. 2, I don't consider myself as worthwhile and useful as I used to. 3, I feel more worthless as compared to other people. And 4, I feel utterly worthless.
What was the number 2 one again?
I don't consider myself as worthwhile and useful as I used to.
Oh, definitely 2. How I feel rising to the occasion has really taken a hit lately.
15, loss of energy. I have 1, I have as much energy as ever. 2, I have less energy than I used to have. 3, I don't have enough energy to do very much. And 4, I don't have enough energy to do anything.
What was number 3 again?
I don't have enough energy to do very much.
I guess I'd have to say a 2.
Okay.
I can still get done what I have to get done.
16, changes in sleeping pattern. 1, I have not experienced any change in my sleeping pattern. This one's a little different. And then 1A, I sleep somewhat more than usual. And B, I sleep somewhat less than usual. Or so 2A, is I sleep somewhat more than usual. 2B is I sleep somewhat less than usual. 3A is I sleep a lot more than usual. 3B is I sleep a lot less than usual. 4A is I sleep most of the day. And then 4B is I wake up 1 to 2 hours early and I can't get back to sleep. So each one is kind of like split into like a more or less.
I'd say 2B. I'm getting less sleep than I did before.
A lot less sleep. Oh,
Oh,
so 2B. Yeah, sorry, 2B. Yes.
is 2B just somewhat less sleep?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
That's
that's
what.
it.
Yeah, correct. All right, that sounds like we're right with
Uh-huh.
that one.
Uh-huh.
17 is irritability. So 1, I'm no more irritable than usual. 2, I am more irritable than usual. 3, I am much more irritable than usual. And 4, I am irritable all the time.
I'd say 3.
Okay. 18, changes in appetite. 1, I have not experienced any changes in appetite, and this one also has A and B. 2, 2A, my appetite is somewhat less than usual. 2B, my appetite is somewhat greater than usual. 3A, my appetite is much less than before. 3B, my appetite is much greater than usual. 4A, I have no appetite at all. 4B, I crave food all the time.
I'd say 1. My appetite hasn't changed.
Okay. 19, concentration difficulty. 1, I can concentrate as well as ever. 2, I can't concentrate as well as usual. 3, it's hard to keep my mind on anything for very long. 4, I find I can't concentrate on anything.
Um, I'd say a 2.
2. 20, tiredness and fatigue. 1, I am no more tired or fatigued than usual. 2, I get more tired or fatigued more easily than usual. 3, I am too tired or fatigued to do a lot of things that I used to do. And 4, I am too tired or fatigued to do most of the things I used to do.
2.
Last one, loss of interest in sex. So 1, I have not noticed any recent changes in my interest in sex. 2, I am less interested in sex than I used to be. 3, I am much less interested in sex now. And 4, I have lost interest in sex completely.
Um, Probably 2.
Okay. All right. So we'll go over those at the end.
Okay.
So now we're going to do a little bit of an anxiety inventory. So
Mm-hmm.
anxiety is a little bit different than depression, and so it's a little bit different of a test. And so, but it's very similar. So what I'm going to do in that, I'll go through but this time I'll give you different symptoms, so different feelings that you might have, and then you're just going to give me a 1 through 4 rating. So 1,
Okay.
like you never experience that feeling at all, and then 4 being like it's always happening all the time, and then in between would be
Mm-hmm.
2 would be like sometimes mild,
Mm-hmm.
and then 3 is like a good deal of the time. So
Okay.
basically just a 1 through 4 should be good.
Mm-hmm.
So first one is numbness or tingling. Do you have any of those sensations at all?
No. Well, I mean, kind of, because I have like neck and shoulder issues, so when I get really tense,
Yeah.
I get a little bit of facial numbness.
Okay.
But if I get the knots worked on, I'm
So it's
not
like
sure if that applies.
maybe just a 1 or
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Or a 2, I mean, sorry. Or yeah, so is it not at all, or do you think you
It's
think
a 2. It's a 2.
okay, that's what I meant, sorry. Second one is feeling hot. 1 through 4 with that one.
Just a 1.
1. Wobbliness in the legs?
No,
Not at
no.
all. Unable to relax?
Mm, a 2.
That too. Okay. Fear of worst happening.
Fear of what happening?
Of the worst happening.
Oh yeah. I mean, right now, I'm
Okay.
the only show in town as far as like parent stuff goes.
I see.
So it's like,
A 4
gosh,
or a 3.
I'd say a 3
Okay.
because I could still be realistic about it.
Yeah. Fear of, sorry, dizzy or lightheaded.
1,
Okay. Heart pounding, racing,
1,
unsteady on your feet.
2,
2. Terrified or afraid.
um, sometimes. I'd say a 3,
A 3.
just because of my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it is.
Nervousness.
2.
2,
No, I go with a 3.
3.
Yeah, because right now in my mind, I'm at when it was at the worst with her, and that was a 3.
Mm-hmm. Um, feeling of choking.
2.
Hands trembling,
1,
shaky, unsteady.
2,
Fear of losing control.
uh, 2,
Difficulty in breathing.
1.
Fear of dying.
Um, well, only because I'd say a 2.
That's it.
I just like think, well, what if I got in a car accident and then he'd have to fly back from Saudi Arabia, and that would be so
Mm,
traumatic for everyone.
I see. Yeah. Scared.
3,
3. Indigestion.
2,
Faint slash lightheaded.
2,
Face flushed.
1,
1. Hot and cold sweats.
1.
Okay. Great. Nice job. Thank you. Um, so the last inventory that we're going to do here is um, an alcohol screening.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see, and so we just want to see, where you're at with that, and if you're, how much you're using alcohol. Um, just so you know, so we have some units of how we
Mm-hmm.
measure drinks,
Mm-hmm.
and so do these make sense to you as one drink each? So
Yes.
one 12-ounce beer, 8 to 9 ounces of malt liquor, or a glass of wine, or
Mm-hmm.
1.5
Mm-hmm.
ounces of spirits would be yes. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so all right, so I'll read the questions and the answers. Um, Very similarly, though, it'll be this time it'll be a 0 through 4, and so
Mm-hmm.
the 0 being like the question like never comes up, and
Mm-hmm.
then 4 being a lot comes up a lot. So
Yeah.
um, so
It,
yeah,
will we talk about the results afterwards?
yeah, I'll go through all the different results at the
Oh,
end.
okay. Okay. And
Um,
and the answers are different than they would have been before he left.
yes,
So my
yeah,
usage has increased since he left.
okay. Um, so how often do you have a drink containing alcohol? 0 being never, 1 being monthly, 2 to 4 times a month, 3 2 to 3 times a week, and 4 more times a week.
Oh, I'd have to say a 4.
4. Okay. 2. How many drinks containing alcohol do you have on a typical day when you're drinking? 0, 1 or 2, 1, 3 or 4, 2, 5 or 6, 3, 7 or 8, and then 4 is 10 or more.
So that's the amount of servings in one
Yeah.
week.
So when you're drinking,
Yeah.
at one day, how much do
Oh,
you
at
drink?
one sitting.
Yeah, kind of like one
2.
session. 2. Okay.
1 to 2.
1 to 2. Okay.
Yeah.
3 is how often do you have 6 or more drinks on one occasion? 0 being
Never.
never. Never. Okay.
Never. I've never done that in my life.
Um, 4. How often during the last year have you found that you were not able to stop drinking once you had started? Um,
Never.
Never. Yeah. 5. How often during the last year have you failed to do what was normally expected of you because of drinking?
Um, so one is a never?
Yeah, there's
Well,
zero.
yeah.
Zero's never. Never. Okay.
Oh, okay, 0.
Okay. And then 6 is how often during the last year have you needed uh, a first drink in the morning to get yourself going after a heavy drinking session?
0.
0. Yeah. 7, how often during the last year have you had a feeling of guilt or remorse after drinking?
Mm,
0 is never. 1 is less than monthly. 2 is monthly. 3 weekly. 4 daily or almost daily.
it's not really remorse. It's more like, why do I feel like it's so hard not to do this? So I guess
Hmm.
I'd say maybe 2.
A 2.
What? So what is 2 again?
2 is monthly. So 0 is never. 1 is less than
Oh,
monthly. And then 2 is monthly. 3 is weekly.
I'd say 3.
Okay.
3.
Um, 8, how often during the last year have you been unable to remember what happened last night before because you had been drinking?
0.
0 is never. Yeah. 9, have you or someone else been injured as a result of your drinking?
0.
0, yeah. 10, has a relative or a friend or a doctor or another health cornered worker been cornered about your drinking or suggested you cut down? Concerned,
Um.
sorry, concerned about your
Oh, that
I
makes a lot more
I don't know
sense.
why I read cornered.
Um. Well, no one. I
No.
mean, I haven't talked to it with about a doctor, and my friends are just like, "Oh, Megan, whatever." But
Uh-huh.
I'd say 0. It's never happened.
Okay. Um, okay, so that's that. That's pretty much the whole thing. So let me just tally up your scores, and then I'll let you know
Okay.
what that ends
Uh-huh.
up becoming.
Yeah.
Just give me a second here.
Sure, sure.
Um, okay, Megan. So
Uh-huh.
um, so the results are in,
Mm-hmm.
and so I have for the first test that we did, the depression inventory.
Mm-hmm.
I had you at a low risk. You scored a low risk for depression.
Mm-hmm.
You were on the upper end of the low risk, so you're
Yeah,
still
that's
quite
yeah,
down there, but you're
right.
getting close to being, more in the medium range.
Yes.
So
That sounds really accurate.
yeah, so it was a lower end, but that we should keep tabs on that. And then very similar with the anxiety um, score. You scored a 17, and low anxiety is 0 to 21. So you're like on the cut. You're getting a couple more points than you would have
Mhm.
the moderate anxiety. So you have
Mhm.
low levels of depression, levels of
Mhm.
anxiety, but right on could be closer to moderate in both those categories.
Okay.
Um,
Mhm.
if something if
Yeah.
it got bumped
Mhm.
up for some reason.
Right.
And then for the alcohol screening, you're at a low risk for alcoholism.
Mhm.
Again, you're kind of bumping close to the moderate,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
and
I guess.
mostly
Mhm.
it seems it's about the consistency of the drinking, and not about you didn't score on basically any of the other categories on this screening, except for just like
Yeah.
the regularity of drinking. So
Yeah. And it wasn't anything I ever like was to that point before, but
mhm.
it wasn't that I was drinking to excess. It was that I felt like I needed to have a glass of wine a lot of days, and that's what kind of bothered me, you know?
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah,
just
that
in the
makes sense.
grocery store, I'd get excited, like if I found one on sale, like a screw
Yeah,
top. And the
yeah.
thing is, military spouses joke about it, but now I'm like, it's really not that funny because
No,
maybe
no.
it's funny for me temporarily, but I
Yeah,
can really see how someone could get into alcoholism very easily.
exactly. It's not really something to joke about, and
Yeah,
it can really
yeah.
do some damage. You are at a low risk right now, but
Mhm.
but things
Mhm.
can change, and it's just
Right.
something being that this is the first session that we want to monitor moving forward,
Yes.
and that we might
Yes.
want to note that it might be a way that you're coping with the low levels of anxiety and depression that
Exactly.
you're experiencing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll come
Mhm.
back on the next session, and we have this as our base to go from, and
Yeah.
I'll see you
Okay.
then.
All right. Great. Thanks a lot. Okay.